Hey guys, Mike with Gettin Greasy Garage. Lower control arms for Black Betty here. And we have the airbag cups. So if you don't know anything about air ride, these are basically the mounting surfaces for the airbags. You have a bottom cup and a top cup. And the airbag would sit in between the two and it bolts in. So this cup sits up in the spring pocket where the original coil spring would have been and bolts up through the shock hole. The bottom cup you weld to the lower control arm. I just put a few tacks around it, well, a little bigger than tacks, but just to hold it securely. That way it doesn't rock, it doesn't do any moving around. So got that done. I had started to do this in another video and ran out of argon mix for the welder and had welder issues. A little feed issue, so I got that figured out. I had previously sandblasted this control arm, and I'm going to throw it back in the sandblaster after I peel off all the tape. I had it masked off to... I like to spray the undersides of these with bed liner and the visible part with gloss black paint. Just how I do it. Just makes them look better. The bottom side you don't really see. And the bed liner protects it from all rock things and everything else that paint wouldn't hold up to. So this one will go back in the sandblaster and just get touched up where there's a little bit of surface rust. And then I'll get paint on it. And we can finally get the lower control arms in the car. Then the car will be movable, and we can move forward on getting the engine in place. So, the other thing I did do, so there's a nut inside of here that holds this piece of all thread, and that's what retains the cup. Now you can weld these in. I didn't see any point in case we want to change at later date. The positioning of the airbags. You can take them out. You can cut this cup down or change cups and change how the airbag sits in there for ride height. So it's just an adjustability thing that I leave in. That's how I do it. You do it how you want. But when they put these nuts in, they just got a couple of light tacks. And as soon as you tighten this all thread down with a nut on the top side, it pops them spot welds loose. It's kind of an issue that I do need to mention to air slam it where I got this stuff. But I had tried welding them before and I was having welder issues, and so today I got the welder working right and it ain't gonna break off now. I welded, it held it, I don't pretend to be no professional welder, but it's not going to break off. It's going to be out of sight. Doesn't matter. So yeah, kind of excited to get this part done. I'm ready to put the front of this car on wheels and move forward. So yep, a little more closer on the car every day. Really making a lot of progress. So anyway, just a short video on this. Next thing, like I say, sandblast. I got the other control arm in the blast cabinet already. Got one more side to do. Then paint, then install. I've got brand new ball joints for them. I already pressed in the new bushings. I just masked those off because I had to put them on the car to mock everything up. And I didn't want to mock it up with fried bushings. Then nothing lines up right. So anyway, a little masking tape fixes that. So alright, well, back to the blast cabinet I go. Alright guys, well, you thought this video was over, but it's not. So I ended up painting everything and getting the airbags mounted on. And as you can see, and I pointed out in the last video, bottom cups are welded on. I got the top cups all done. Studs mounted. and new hardware holding the bag on, got the fitting in, and the air line, they're long for a reason. Got the lower ball joints in and torque. Do remember, when you put new ball joints in, there's a torque spec for these bolts. I ran them down with one of my little rattle guns and put a torque wrench on them, and they weren't near tight enough. These things see a lot of force, so you definitely want to torque all your ball joint bolts and even these nuts to their target spec. This has a range of 70 to 90 foot-pounds in the factory service manual. These were 40 to 45. I always go on the higher end of the torque spec. These are grade 8s and proper length. These bolts did come with the new ball joints. So always torque suspension stuff to spec. If you don't have a service manual or even a repair manual, you can generally find it online, or worst case, you can always call a shop or a dealer. Usually somebody will be cool enough to give you a torque spec on stuff. So these are the lower shock mount for the relocated shocks, because, well, you can't put a shock where there's an airbag. And airbag cars without shocks drive like they're on marshmallows. So I relocated it to the front side of the control arm. Next thing is put these things in. I put Loctite on all of the airbag hardware. Blue, not red, just in case it ever has to come apart again. Let's see if I can flip this up. Yeah, it's getting heavy. So as you can see, sprayed the underside with the bed liner. And that always holds up real well. So, yep, pretty happy with it. You know me, I paint and detail every nut and bolt. It looks better in the long run. So, there's the one bolt holding the lower part of the airbag in, again Loctited. You wanna make sure your airbag hardware stays in place so it doesn't kick out on a bounce. These things can kick out one direction or another, so which then suspension would collapse on you. A couple different videos I watched online about airbags, just kind of seeing what other people do. They didn't put bolts in to hold the airbag in. To me, that's kind of scary. Even if this bag sat actually in a cup like this, I would still bolt it in. But that's just me. I tend to make sure everything's plenty strong. So anyway, next step is to get these control arms in, get the front wheels on. So just want to show you guys that. Looking pretty sharp. Got a little bit of red here and there. So, alright guys, now thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. All that is free, doesn't cost you a thing, and it really helps out the channel. We've hit 251 subscribers. I want to say thank you to everybody that watched the Good Guys video. I was there with a vehicle that I did a bunch of wiring on a couple of years ago, so I didn't get a lot of time to go out and record, but I was able to record quite a bit from where I was sitting, and it turned out really well. So it just amazed me the amount of views that it got in the first day. So, alright guys, stay greasy.